Are the Nets too high, too low, or just right?
You know what? At first, when I initially thought it, because you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and a list of other talented guys, Dinwiddie, I think they're just about where they should be. When I look around the league and I see the teams in front of them, that's accurate. That's pretty accurate for me.
Wow. I think this is too low. And I understand it's Kevin Durant's coming off an Achilles injury. We know that's the toughest injury for any pro athlete or any athlete, period, to come back from. And there is a recuperation period even when you're playing. But drop the mic with Kevin Durant on your team, plus Kyrie, plus Karis LeVert, who we haven't even seen the best of yet. Now, I'm basing this all on the fact that they're going to re-sign Joe Harris, who I think is also important to them. I think they should be higher.
I'm with Jackie. Keep this up for a second, producer Steve. I'm with her. Honestly, I think the Heat and the Nets are a little too low. I think that the Sixers should probably be below both teams. I know Doc is there, but, look, their roster construction is still a work in progress around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They're best when they've had shooters around them. They don't necessarily have shooters on the roster at the moment outside of Shake Milton. And look, even the Warriors, look, they're champions. They will forever be champions. But they're all in their 30s now. We don't know what they're going to look like.
I'm going to tell you one team that's too low, and that's going to be the Warriors. And watch this. They're going to make a trade for that pick they're going to get, and they're going to bump up.
Okay, yeah.
I guarantee you that.
If they make a deal, if they trade that number 2 pick, who are you moving them for?
I don't know yet. I don't want to put no rumors out there just quite yet. Not right now. It's too early for that.
Come on.
Okay, who would you like to see them get? Like, what kind of player? What kind of player?
They got a chance to get. No, I don't want to say it. Not right now.
Don't give us a name. But what kind of a player?
They can get an all-star caliber player with some of the assets they have.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, Jackie, do you see a position for the Warriors where you think that maybe they could use some help?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they want to get a little bigger up front. That might be a possibility. And again, guys, Clay is coming off not only a bad injury, but a long layoff. It's going to take him a little while to work his way in. But I think they could use a little help up front.
Jackie, as far as the Nets, how do you see them fitting on paper? Do you think that Karis LeVert is still part of the plan? Like, what do you see with their roster?
Right. Well, I think they have to decide if Karis LeVert's going to be their potential third guy. I'm bullish on LeVert. I think you saw what he did in the bubble. I think he's got a lot of talent, and he's had some injuries. We haven't even seen what he can do yet. But if you want to use him as a trade piece and go out to get, an established veteran I'm not like Paul, so I'll actually say a name. If maybe you could pry Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. Who knows? We hear Bradley Beal's name mentioned all the time in trade talks, and we know the Nets like him. But people are worried about well, what about Dinwiddie? I'm like, well, what about him? He's a pretty good passer as well. I think he averaged almost 7 assists a game. He'll conform to those two guys. And maybe you make him a super six man and bring him off the bench as a big scorer off the bench. I really like what the Nets have in place.
Yeah, I like their talent, but when you look at their roster, look how many guys actually need the ball. You can't tell these guys to space and be spot-up guys. Irvin needs the ball. Durant, Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, these guys have all been successful with the ball in their hand. And so the key to all of this is going to be Kyrie Irving. How well can he play on and off the ball? Because they got some talented guys on this team that need the ball. So we have yet to see.
Do they have enough shooting, though, Jackie? I mean, you mentioned Joe Harris, but do they have enough of that?
Well, they need Joe Harris, yeah. Well, I mean, again, can LeVert become a good shooter, a better shooter? I think he can. Dinwiddie, that still remains to be seen. That's not his strongest suit. But, Paul, you mentioned sharing the ball. If I'm Spencer Dinwiddie, I want to be part of a team that might have a chance to go to a championship. I'm going to do anything. I'm going to get those two guys the ball all day, every day, and I'm going to average 10, 12 assists a night if I do it the right way.
And
Why not?
I do believe they have enough shooting also. Kyrie, he's a streak shooter. Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, these guys, Karis LeVert, these guys can knock down shots. We saw they have more shooting than the Lakers, and the Lakers won the championship. But in the Lakers' defense, they got 2 top 5 players. Now, Durant is a top 5 player. Can Kyrie get back in that conversation as, one of the top point guards in the NBA next year?
What concerns, if any, Jackie?
He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, what concerns, if any, do you have about the coaching situation there with Steve Nash being a first-time coach?
Well, I think Steve Nash, because he's got a great relationship with Marks, and even probably more importantly, has a great relationship with both Durant and Kyrie from everything we're reading and hearing. I think it's going to be collaborative. I do think if Mike D'Antoni does join him there, that would be great, because I think to have a guy of D'Antoni's gravitas and experience will really, someone that Steve Nash is very close with, to lean on, I think that would be a big help. And D'Antoni coaches superstars as well as anyone I've ever seen. So I think he'd be a really huge addition to their staff if that does indeed happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you bring in Steve Nash, it's about the comfortability of the players. And you know that Kevin Durant is very comfortable with Steve Nash. We saw Steve Kerr with no coaching. I mean, he didn't have much. Did he have any coaching experience?
Right. He was a GM
before. He was a GM before,
He
right?
had none.
And he comes
none.
right in and win a championship. The pieces are there for them. Like, the pieces are there for Steve Nash to be successful.
I do like the Mike D'Antoni situation, though, coming on and being an assistant there. That would be fascinating. You basically have the teacher coming to work with the pupil, right? That would be pretty cool. So.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.